is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Hey there folks, welcome you all to yet another Friday vlog of mine. Flagons up to you all. I'm having my first cheeky beer of the evening after finishing workout number 5 of the week, people. I've been absolutely hammering the gym over the last number of weeks. I had a little gap in the middle there where I didn't go for about 3 or 4 days, but outside of that, for the last God knows how long, I've been going nearly every day of the week for a good long while as well. Like, you know, like Mondays, Tuesdays will be a good couple of hours on weights, and then Wednesday will be a run. Thursday, Friday will be a couple of hours on weights. So it's been pretty full on. And then I'll come back and then I do my recordings for the channel that I can top up, that I might have done some at the weekend, and then I top them up through the week. We've talked about it all before, people. So, the last workout's done, people. I can enjoy a flagon. I can talk to you all about things that have piqued my interest through the week. Now, there is 2 things that have piqued my interest through the week, and you've probably seen them in the title by now. That's the way it works. I'm going to have a sip of this before we get going, shall we? Might have another one. It's going down a bit easy, isn't it? Anyway, without further ado, well, I hope you guys should be having one while you're watching this. You know, pick a time to watch this and have a beer while you're watching it, or a flagon of your choice. I mean, I move, you know, thanks to LLC Cool CC Plays. You know you are. I am partial to a little Southern Comfort with ice. So I might have one of them later. You never know, people. So, moving swiftly on. There was a couple of things that piqued my interest this week, gaming-wise. And it's 2 games. We've got 2 games coming up, actually, very soon. One of them's this month, in a couple of weeks' time. The other one is next month, the day before my birthday, people. Yes, it is. Hint, hint to anybody who knows me. So, the first one, which is out this month, is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. And the second one is Days Gone, which, well, Days Gone was put back, but it wasn't put back because there was anything wrong with it. It was put back because they just didn't like the windows that it was supposed to come out. And the last 2 times it was put back, they said that they didn't have anything more to do to the game. They just didn't want to release it at that particular moment in time. So God knows what that's all about. Just release it, you know what I mean? But people started to worry a bit that the game wasn't going to be up to the standard of the other first parties that PlayStation have done. And I was never really that worried, because you can tell, right, that in the development of the PS4 games, without any shadow of a doubt, and you could see it when they brought Kojima in to do his game, and he went round all of the devs that were Sony devs, and, you know, Naughty Dog and Santa Monica and all of these devs, and decided on which engine he was going to use and how they were doing stuff, and he ended up using the engine from Horizon Zero Dawn, funnily enough, for his game. So, but you got the impression throughout all of the E3s and all of the stuff that's happened through the PS4 that Sony have had their studios talking to each other all the time about, how did you do this? How can we make ours better? How can, you know, all of their studios talk to each other. You can tell this. And I've never really been worried about Days Gone, because I kind of know that they've been talking to Naughty Dog, and they've been talking to all the other devs that Sony have. So, you know, it's not going to be The Last of Us. It's not going to be the God of War. You know what I mean? I'm not expecting it to be a 10 out of 10. But what I am expecting it to be is at the very least, an 8 out of 10. From what I've seen, and for what I want as a gamer, which is a great zombie game in an open world that I can just live in as that character, I've been dying on a game like this. I know they're not zombies, they're called freakers, blah, blah, blah. But it's basically a zombie game. And the only difference is that freakers aren't dead. They're people that are infected with this protein thing. I can't remember. But it's basically the same concept. And, you know, since I started watching The Walking Dead much later than everyone else started watching it, all I've wanted is a really good zombie game to get thrown into, and I couldn't find anything that let me live in a world with zombies and blah, other than State of Decay, and that's not really a AAA title, you know. It was fun for a bit, and that was that. State of Decay 2 I've actually purchased now. I bought it on disc, and I haven't actually... I did a couple of episodes for the channel, and I was enjoying it, but I did it because I got it... I got the Game Pass for £1, so I thought, well, I might as well try it, which I did do, and I thought, you know what, I might buy that actually when it comes around, because I actually did enjoy State of Decay 2 much more than I did 1. So... I'm really looking forward to playing it at some point, but it's not the scale of game that I wanted. You know, I wanted, like I've said for years, I'd love to have an open world type, The Last of Us type game, where you try to survive in that kind of world. You know, theirs wasn't zombies either, but it was a similar thing. And you're not just obviously fighting the zombie type creatures, you're also fighting the humans that are all baddies or different groups or whatever. So, you know, I wanted that Walking Dead type world, you know, and the only thing we got Walking Dead tag, you know, Walking Dead sort of labelled was the Telltale ones, which, fine, they were good games, you know, for story, but they weren't great playable games, you know what I mean? It was click here, point there, you know, there wasn't much in the way of gaming, but Telltale games were great experiences as a one-off experience. It was the same with Tales of the Borderland. Like, I haven't laughed so much playing a game in my entire life. It was so good, that game. But I wouldn't go and play them over and over again, or spend 100 hours in that world. And I'm not saying that Days Gone's got 100 hours in it, but what it is an open world, me playing as my character, trying to survive in that world and do what it is that I need to do to get out of wherever I'm trying to do. Well, you know, we'll talk more about the actual game in a minute. But people were worried about this game, and I just didn't believe that there was any cause for it. And the more that time's gone on, the more that is actually the case. From what we're hearing from the people that have actually got their hands on and played it for a bit, IGN is the people I'm talking about. So I'll tell you what, we'll talk about Days Gone first, seeing as how I'm rambling on a lot about it, and then we'll come back to Sekiro. So there's not a huge amount to say on this really, other than the article that I was reading from yesterday or the day before was the more hands-on that they got, the more they didn't want to leave when their time was up. And that's a great sign. You know, like if you're there and you're like, you know, and the guy said, like when he got to the end of the story bit that he was doing, he was like, he felt frustrated that he had to leave because he just wanted to crack on, you know, like and find out more. He also said that the character Deacon, you know, it felt like, another white generic, you know, protagonist. But, you know, don't think we should be overly ashamed of putting white protagonists in games, or male people in games for that matter. I think there's room for women, men, and all different colours. I understand that it is predominantly white people that go in games. That's, you know, I don't know how we get past that. I think the only game that I played of any recent days was... I'm going to forget the bloody name of it now. It was a PlayStation exclusive, PS3, Star something. I've still got it upstairs. And it was a really, like, under-the-radar game. It just appeared on the shelves one day. Jesus. It'll come back to me. Someone will be screaming at the screen. But there was a black guy in it. It was a great character as well. And it was a great game, that. I absolutely loved that game. Oh, God, what was it called? Star something. Anyway, never mind. But, yeah, I mean, I get it. You know, but I think as we go on, I think we are getting more female characters certainly in there. I think we are getting more diversity in the range of people that are in the games, but I think they are still very reluctant to put people of different coloured skin other than white in as the main character. And I don't think they should be concerned about it. I think people will still play the game irrelevant. And I think it makes it more interesting if you do mix it up a bit like that, you know? So, I don't know. I think... The only way to prove whether that is the case or not is to make a game with someone that isn't white in it and see how it sells, you know. But it's in their eyes, in the people that fund its eyes, it's a risk. For me, it's not a risk. I wouldn't not play Days Gone because they put a black guy in it instead of a white guy, or a Chinese guy instead of a white guy, or anyone, or a Chinese woman, or a black woman, or anything else. Like what I wanted was that experience in that world. I suppose if you're going to argue the case that the majority of people that will play this game or be interested in this game would be, you know, would relate more to a white protagonist, male, then why not give us the option to make whatever colour of character and gender of character we want? Which I don't think would be a huge leap. But, you know, when you're telling a specific story game, it seems to be they want a specific character, name, and gender. I mean, there is a bit of an argument that says why can't they make games that don't do that? You know, RPGs are the only ones that seem to let you make your own character and crack on, or MMOs. You know, why can't they do that with something that's semi-RPG like Days Gone is, or Assassin's Creed, or, you know, why can't they make you, create your own character and crack on? I think it's something for them to think about. I think they can include more people in that, and then the worry of creating a character of whatever gender, race, or whatever isn't there, is it? Anyway, I'm sidetracking. But the character of Deacon, they'd said all along that they were concerned that it was not going to be an interesting character because it was too generically white and too generically the same, you know, hard done by white guy and blah. But as he played through the story, he was saying, actually, this character's got quite a lot of depth to him. There's quite a lot of history behind him. The story kind of pulls you in. And as I say, he didn't want to leave the demo when he was done with it. Because of that, he kind of got engrossed in it. The gameplay as well was what he said was the exploration of the world was just like immediately comfortable. Like you knew what to do because there's so many games that do that kind of format now. And I think what he was getting at was that I don't think this game's going to be very dissimilar to The Last of Us in the way that you walk around. I know The Last of Us isn't an open world game, but it is kind of open in areas. So I think what he was getting at, although he didn't say it outright, I think that the way you explore this world is going to be very similar to that, where you can crouch, sneak, see what's going on. He's got senses, I think, maybe like Joel has, where you can see, you know, suss out what might be nearby in an area and stuff like that, perception type stuff. So all of these things, and this is why I wasn't worried about it, because I got the distinct impression from the things that I'd seen on this game, especially the sneaky stuff, that they had been talking to Naughty Dog. You know, obviously Naughty Dog haven't made this game, but they have been talking to them about how we should go about it. Maybe they've gone for tips from their engine, and, you know, I'm really, really stoked for that game. I really am. It's like the only game I can think of outside of The Last of Us, which wasn't an open world game, that can give me that zombie experience of living in that world, trying to survive it and just going anywhere and doing stuff and looting areas and trying to make my way through these freakers. And, you know, I'm really stoked for it. The other thing is, and it's not really a spoiler, but if you don't want me to say anything about the game, then pause now. But it happens right at the beginning of the game, apparently, and this guy mentioned it without saying spoiler. But from everything you'd seen, he's on his motorbike all the time, blah, 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 blah. And actually, at the beginning of the game, the reason you have to go around sort of collecting parts and stuff is because your bike gets, I think he said stolen, but now that I'm thinking about it, it might just have got blown up or something. I don't know, but he loses his bike at the beginning of the game. So the course of the game is you trying to rebuild the quality of bike that you used to have in order to get out of the area you're in, because the character Deacon wants to be somewhere else. I've no idea where that is, but he wants to go somewhere else out of where he is. And in order to do that, he needs to build this new bike. And that's why you're going around, you know, collecting all these bits and bobs. So as you build the basic bike, you then have to go around, get all the components, make it better so you can go on this big journey. And that was interesting to hear, because I just assumed you had the bike all the time. You just, you know, Ubered it up sort of thing. A bit like you did in, well, I suppose actually Mad Max was kind of similar, wasn't it? You've got to make your vehicles and stuff. So it's that sort of concept, I think. So that was really interesting to hear. New... What else have I got here? Yeah, I mean, kind of, we've already seen a lot of it, but there was lots of different ways to get through areas. You can sneak your way through. Taking an area head on isn't the wisest thing to do. You better sneak in as much as you can. Try to take out smaller groups as much as you can, in order to get through an area, because otherwise you get completely overrun by the freakers. They're fast. There's loads of them. I mean, on screen it's just insane how many can come at you. But you have you have exploding barrels. You have things all around the area that can help you get rid of multitudes of them and what have you. But they just keep coming. So there is a massive advantage to sneaking in areas and setting traps, and there was just loads of ways to deal with situations, and they were forever a threat. These things, like it didn't take much for them to twig onto the fact that you were there, and suddenly you were in trouble. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I got from that, and it's pretty much just an extended overview of what we've had already. But the fact that every time somebody gets more hands-on with that game and they come back more and more positive is just a bigger sign for me that game's going to be great. And if that game gets anything less than an 8 across the board, I'll be very, very surprised. But I don't think it's going to have enough difference to take it to the levels of God of War or the levels of The Last of Us. So far as, I mean, The Last of Us is kind of a... The Last of Us wasn't just about the game. It was about everything that came with it. It was the story. It was a world we hadn't seen before. It was, but you never know. I mean, it could do. But God of War got Game of the Year because it had kind of reinvented itself into something that it didn't used to be. It had given us gameplay mechanics that were fresh and new. It was just a fantastic world to walk around in, fantastic game, fantastic story, fantastic characters, fantastic acting. I mean, it had everything. And, for me, that's why it beat Red Dead Redemption, because Red Dead Redemption was just a massively bigger version than Red Dead Redemption 1. Red Dead Redemption 2 was a bigger version. And much as the Red Dead Redemption, I'm sure, which I haven't played, I'm sure it's amazing, it didn't reinvent itself. It just made itself uber in comparison to the one that came before. Whereas God of War reinvented itself, Like, I'm pretty sure if they made a God of War 2, it probably wouldn't win Game of the Year if there was something else that was fresher that came out that was as good. So yeah, so there you are. So that was it for Days Gone. And I'm going to move now. I was using the phone for that. But actually, I was watching through the Sekiro video on IGN again, just to catch up and make sure I hadn't forgotten anything. And I just wrote notes down. But it's an interesting... So we're moving on to Sekiro now. It's an interesting one because everybody's assuming... there's a lot of folks said to me, I'm not sure what... Well, in notes or comments or whatever. They're all, I'm not sure what to make of that game, because is it going to be as interesting as the Bloodborne or the Dark Souls ones? Because it looks like it's in a sort of daylit area, or certainly all the things we've seen are daylit areas and sort of a more real world. And, it is still a fantastically magical world, but it's not dark in its surrounding like the others are, And I think people were kind of like, are we just going to have the same battle system over again? Are we just going to have, So it was interesting to see this IGN thing, to see that what they were saying was actually they got their final hands on before launch. Now, I should say Days Gone is out on the 26th of April. Sekiro is out in a couple of weeks, 22nd of March. So it's really close. I've pre-ordered it on the Xbox One X again. Made that decision without actually seeing whether it was better, badder, or indifferent on either console. I just decided I'm just so happy on the Xbox One X at the minute that I just want, if it's on both, I'll buy it for that. So the most interesting thing about Sekiro is, and I didn't know any of this until I read this yesterday, is that there is no souls, there is no leveling yourself up, there is no going around areas, making yourself stronger. You don't get stronger. You don't have souls. There is none of that, right? There's no stats that you can change. So what they've done is they've reinvented that, because they obviously wanted to get away from that sort of bog standard RPG thing where you're just constantly leveling up to get stronger, so nothing can kind of take you down. So what they've done is I mean, you can't even go around buying loads of equipment and stuff. I mean, well, certainly said weapons. The sword you start that game with is the sword you finish the game with, is basically what the guy said. So it's nothing to do with better weapons or better stats or, Ubering yourself. Like, none of that is there. And what it is about, you still earn experience, but that experience, those points that you earn, which can still be lost when you die. So that's the similarity there with Souls. If you can lose your experience if you die, but the points you accumulate. I'm not sure what the save points are. I didn't look into that, so I'm assuming they've got something similar to bonfire. In fact, I think they do. I think I remember there being something similar to bonfires in one of the demos. And once you reach that, it's like your checkpoint where you're safe. But those experience points are used to buy moves, which you can use in battle. So this game has become about. Well, firstly, it's become far more interesting in fighting because Bloodborne and Dark Souls are pretty much the same mechanics. Bloodborne was just no shield and much faster. So, but it was pretty much the same thing with going side to side, different swinging moves. There wasn't much in the way of variety between those games. It was the same mechanic. Great mechanics, but the same. Whereas this has got a multitude of moves in it, loads of different things you can do in battle with grapple hooks, smoke bombs, there's loads of stuff, and it's up to you to purchase the moves that you think are going to get you through fights and make you a better warrior, which is actually, like, I'm surprised more games don't do it. I think a lot of older games did it. I think things like, someone could prove me wrong here, but I think a lot of older games built themselves on moves. RPGs have always kind of been stat based. Well, I suppose maybe not. RPGs have always been stat based, but I think this is trying to be an RPG. I don't want to say action RPG, but I guess it is trying to take the action element in and take the stat element out, which is what it's done. So you're buying moves, which is kind of more like maybe Devil May Cry or, like the old Lord of the Rings game or something. Something where when you get points, you spend them on new moves you can do in battle. Now, I don't think these moves are based on. They're certainly not like triangle, triangle, circle, square or something. It's literally moves you buy and you can activate them in fight. Is what seems to be the case. So that's actually got me quite excited about it because that is a completely different spin on it, and it also means that the fight is going to be far more interesting. You're going to have far more things you can do to achieve success, and you're going to get a bit more of a reward out of it, so far as you haven't just sort of run around an area over and over again to try and make yourself stronger. So because there is no stronger. You are what you are. Your sword is what it is. You've just got to find the moves to get yourself. So becoming a better warrior is what it's about. So I'm really quite chuffed that they've done that, rather than just make it another skill tree and another set of stats. And I know quite a lot of people will be disappointed because a lot, RPG players love their stats. I do. I love it. I love it when a game gives me lots of loot, gives me lots of ways to level up. I love leveling up. It's exciting. So as long as the moves are exciting moves to buy, they're on a winner. But if there's like 3 good moves and you can't be arsed with the rest, then it's going to become a bit mundane. So it'll be interesting. I suspect that a lot of the good moves you're going to be aiming towards, which are going to be expensive, they're going to be further down the line. It's also, from what he was saying, it's a very interesting world as well. He said he found secret paths that he just went wandering down and found these bloody awful bosses to have to fight and all sorts of things that just jumped out. So he said that the actual exploration of the world was surprising in that regard. So, the more I read this article, it was just like there was so much to look forward to. So, have I missed anything there? Yes. Well, you can upgrade your health, right? Oh, there's the other thing as well. There's no stamina bar in this game. You can attack, roll, dodge, jump, do whatever you want as many times as you want, and you won't run out of stamina. There is no stamina. You can go as fast as you like, and the reason they've done it is to keep the fighting fast. And the only way that you can the thing is, you can't just keep like mashing, because they've just specifically built it that you have to defend at certain points. And they said even basic enemies, if you don't defend as well as attack, you'll get destroyed. So they've taken the stamina bar away, kept the fighting fast, but you need to make sure that you defend when you need to defend and attack when you need to attack, which is also a great thing as well, because they had to think about that if they were taking stats away for a start off. The one thing there's two things you can upgrade. One's health, and the other's to do with your I'm forgetting the word now. Posture, I think it's called, and that's to do with your moves and stuff. But the health can be upgraded by finding beads throughout the game, and the beads take you up so many points per in your health to help you through fighting and stuff. But what they said was that the beads are extremely hard to find, and when you do find them, it's extremely hard to get them because you have to beat a boss to get them. Well, certainly he had to fight a boss to get the set of beads that he got. So there is that one element that you can upgrade for your health, but it's not easy to upgrade it. But it's another thing to go looking for, and it's another reason to go wandering around the world. So that's quite good. I mean, I guess the only thing that concerns me at this point, because he didn't talk about equipment at all, and so because you've got the one sword that you start with, does that mean there's no other equipment? I don't know whether there's different armors or different whatevers, because it does kind of lend itself to being, well, what's the point of looking around every corner if there's nothing to pick up? So maybe it's like health potions, or I don't know. I mean, to be fair, most of the stuff you pick up in Souls and Bloodborne isn't kit anyway. Most of it's stuff like that, stuff that helps you in game, like health potions or what have you. Although a lot of it was to do with Souls as well, though, to be fair. Or Echoes. So there you are. So yeah, I'm really chuffed for both of those games. They sound like they're going to be really, really good. All the information coming out really, really close to launch is saying everything positive about them. So yeah, I couldn't be more chuffed. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited for any of them. Are any of you buying Sekiro on the day of launch? I shall be recording on the day I get the game in order to put it on the channel. I did put a little vote up for you guys if you wanted to see some. Don't know how long I'll play it for. It depends how popular it is. And it depends how much it destroys my soul. I mean, we know what From Software games are like. I'll probably be like losing the will to live by that point. I'll actually be glad by the time Days Gone comes a month later to play something that's a bit more within my realm. But it would be nice to be playing that game alongside other people. I don't know, Jason, are you getting it? King Rat, Sir Robert, are you getting it? All these people that helped me with Souls and Bloodborne, are you guys getting it? Are you going to play it along with me and give me advice? Because I'm going to need it, people. Let me know in the comments below. And don't tell me all this like I haven't got money to buy that. Come on now. Go and sell your bodies out. Get yourself some cash. Get that game. And let me know if you're getting Days Gone. I think that's going to be a winner as well. So I haven't pre-ordered that yet. But obviously it's going to be on PS4 because you can only buy it on PS4. But yeah, I haven't pre-ordered it yet. But I'm definitely going to be pre-ordering it closer to the time. Well, there you are. That's all I had to talk about, people. Whew. It's thirsty work, that, you know. Thirsty. You know I'd buy you all one. I would. I say it all the time, knowing fine well I'm never going to have to do it. So there you are. Well, as always, people, I'm going to sign off now because I've got nothing else, literally nothing else to say. I'm seeing things flash up, my messages flashing up on my phone as I record this from people watching the last... Oh, there is something else I want to say. The videos that I put up today, people commenting and what have you, it's all popping up here. I will reply to you all when I get this rendered and up. I shall reply to you all. Yeah, I've recorded. There was a bit of a delay getting some more Kingdoms of Amalur done, but I will keep doing Kingdoms of Amalur. I've got 2 more Kingdom of Amalurs to come. One tomorrow, one Sunday, and then I'll try and record some more over the weekend or through next week. Path of Exile, I have got one more coming up. Yeah, one more going up tomorrow. There was one today. There'll be one more going up tomorrow. We're getting really close to there not being much point in doing much more of that playthrough because on the 11th we're going to have the big update, at which point that character is going to become fairly redundant. So that's at that point we're going to start a fresh Let's Play. I've got all the tabs and everything ready for the videos and stuff, all ready for synthesis. And so the vote is still up there. It's pretty even between Witch and Ranger if you take into account the people that weren't fussed about which one I went for. Which kind of is like 2% above Ranger. And much as I want to be honest to the vote, there's this big part of me that wants to go Ranger. And I think it's a fear. I think it's a fear of having never gone mage before in anything. Do you know what I mean? I don't go mage in anything. I actually went off kilter to go as the sword guy because I would normally have gone the bow guy. If you actually watch the beginning of that playthrough, I'm this close to... In fact, somebody mentioned while they were watching it, they went, hey, you went Ranger. And then I was like, no, keep watching. I don't go Ranger. So I am actually really keen to see how good the Ranger is. And anyway, I'm still chewing it over, but I'm closer to Ranger than I am to Witch. So let me know in the comments below if you really, really, really want the Witch, or if you're more than happy for me to do the Ranger. But that will be a fresh play from the beginning, obviously, so we'll see how that goes. So there you are. That is it, people. It has been an honour and a privilege, as always, serving for you in this vlog of mine, and I shall see you all next time. Take it easy, folks. Bye.